Are you a person who's dealing with dry patches, big huge scabs or flakes in your scalp, a funny smell coming from the scalp, or burning, itching, and redness in the scalp? By the end of this video, you'll know the names of these different disorders, the causes, and how to fix them. So if you want more information on how to stop the burning, the itching, the redness, and all of that stuff in the scalp, then keep on watching.
Trust that exactly where you are is where you're meant to be. So keep your chin up so your crown doesn't fall. Remember, you're royalty.
Before we get started, make sure you go ahead and subscribe here to my channel and then click on that bell notification so you're notified every single time I post another video. How do you treat dandruff? How do you treat psoriasis? How do you treat plaque psoriasis of the scalp and seborrheic dermatitis? Well, before you can figure out how to treat them, we have to first understand the cause and the source of them in the first place. How did it start? So the medical term for dandruff is mild seborrheic dermatitis. Most people think that dandruff equals dry scalp, and it is the exact opposite. Dandruff isn't dry scalp. If you see what looks like dry scalp, dry flakes in the scalp, your scalp is not dry. You actually have an overproduction of oil inside the follicle, the sebaceous gland to be exact. So what happens with the dandruff, normally your natural skin cell turnover cycle happens every 28 to 30 days. Every 28 to 30 days, the skin cells on your scalp, they die and they fall off, and then a new layer appears, and with that new layer comes some more hair. All right, this is why most people are growing so many inches every month, because if the body's natural rhythm on the inside is straight, you know, when everything is good, then when your skin cell turnover cycle happens and the scalp is clear and the follicle isn't blocked, the scalp isn't layered with petroleum and stuff like that, then the natural skin cell turnover cycle can happen. So when you have dandruff or any of these disorders, what's happening, instead of the skin cells turning over every 28 to 30 days, they're turning over every 2 to 3 days or 3 to 4 days. You know what I mean? Like everything's sped up. Now, the cause of dandruff is an overproduction of yeast, sebum, and different sebaceous secretions. I know that sounds gross, a secretion, but yeah, the sebaceous gland, which is a gland that produces oil in the scalp, it also produces yeast and an acid that cleans the excess yeast off the scalp in the meantime between you shampooing your hair. Okay, now when we're talking about scalp psoriasis can happen all over the body except for the palms of the hands and the soles of the feet and the knees, because it is an infection and an overproduction of sebum. So with scalp psoriasis, or with psoriasis in general, it's mainly like your immune system that's under attack. So something is happening within the immune system where your body is fighting too much. So if you have psoriasis, the same exact thing is happening. Instead of the skin cell turnover cycle being anywhere from every 28 to every 30 days, it's like every 2 days, or in between every 2 to 7 days. And this is why you see those thick patches of dead skin, because it's because you have all of these dead skin cells that are trying to fall off. And the reason that it's doing that, that's your immune system's way of trying to fight the bacteria. Because with psoriasis and with dandruff, when you really sit down and talk to scientists, the actual cause is kind of unknown, because most people are not, the doctors are not with you on your everyday life. So, and you're only going to give them so much information, and that's how they come up with the cause. So the cause is kind of unknown, but they know what is happening. And what is happening within the scalp whenever you have this disorder, what is happening is you just have too much sebum and too much yeast in the scalp, and it is your body is trying to get rid of it and turning those cells over and over again, because your skin's like, okay, maybe if we die off and this skin falls off, then we'll be able to breathe more. We can kill this bacteria, right? Your skin is aiding you in getting rid of the infection by turning over those dead skin cells. And now when we're talking about seborrheic dermatitis is exactly what dandruff is. It's just an extreme version of dandruff. So seborrheic dermatitis is dandruff, just an extreme form of it, and dandruff is a weakened, lessened version of seborrheic dermatitis. Again, seborrheic dermatitis is an overproduction of yeast, sebaceous secretions, and sebum. Overproduction of sebum on the scalp, and it's not leaving the follicle, so the follicle is becoming inflamed. And in return, when something is inflamed, what's happened if your boobs are inflamed? Or why did I say boobs? I'm sorry. That was just the first thing that popped up in my head. What does that say about me? There are two causes. The first cause is what's going on within the body, right? So if you are not putting enough amino acids or enough good foods within the body for your body to be able to fight off certain types of bacteria, meaning if your immune system is weakened in any way, shape, or form, then it's going to be harder for your body to fight off certain types of bacterial infections, whether it's within the body or within the hair follicle. So remember, the most important part of the hair follicle is found within the body, and we are what we eat. So if our diet is messed up and our immune system is weakened, then it's going to be really hard for our scalp to be able to fight off, for our body to be able to fight off certain bacteria. And we can have bacteria infections and yeast infections of the body. This is why whenever the monostat craze was like all out there, the main reason why monostat worked is because monostat killed yeast within the cootie pop. So if it could kill the yeast within the cootie pop, it was killing the yeast within the scalp that most women had an overproduction of because they were not shampooing the hair properly. The same thing goes for all of your favorite herbal remedies like cloves that you're putting in your hair and all of these different herbs, rosemary and all of these things. One thing about the majority of herbs, they all have antibacterial, antimicrobial, and antibacteria properties, which makes it easy for them to kill bacteria and yeast that is on the scalp. So it's not that all of these herbs and things of that nature are growing your hair out. What is actually happening, the herbs are killing all of the overproductions of yeast and bacteria that most women with naturally curly hair have on the scalp because they don't wash their hair as often. So what are the treatments that you can do? How can you fix this, right? You guys are gonna feel so crazy when you find out how easy it is to fix this. Depending on what level you have, like sometimes when you have seborrheic dermatitis, an excessive version of it, or scalp psoriasis, an aggressive version of it, then what happens is you end up needing to go in to see a dermatologist because you may need something stronger than what I'm going to be suggesting to you in the video. So please understand that I am not giving you medical consult. I am letting you know that if these things do not work as a cosmetologist and the other different titles that I hold, I'm the first stop right before you go see the dermatologist. So before you go and charge it to your insurance or pay cash out of pocket, try this. The number one medicine prescribed by doctors and what will most likely be prescribed to you by your dermatologist if you go in is this medicated shampoo and conditioner right here. Most women with naturally curly hair, whenever they go in to see the dermatologist and the dermatologist gives them a shampoo and conditioner containing this ingredient, what happens is they'll be like, oh, it's drying my hair out, it's making my hair feel dry, and they'll stop taking it, not understanding that that's not making your hair dry. Actually, the way that you're used to your hair feeling super oily and all of that is not how your hair is supposed to feel. So the first thing that it's doing, if you have an overproduction of sebum, an overproduction of oil within the hair's follicle, the first thing that it's going to do is take away that oil, dry the oil out a little bit, because dandruff, seborrheic dermatitis, and scalp psoriasis is an overproduction production of oil within the sebaceous gland, right? So it's going to be drying that out, trying to get it to come out. So if you do go the medical route where you go to see your dermatologist, or if you've been to a dermatologist and you feel like it was too drying, it needed to be drying because it needed to kill the bacteria and the yeast that is causing the redness, the itching, the burning, the scaly patches, and all of the other symptoms of dandruff, seborrheic dermatitis, and scalp psoriasis. So don't stop taking it. That's what you need to dry out that oil, that overproduction of oil, and to kill that yeast. You need that. All right, so again, that is if you go to the medical grade. The medical grade is what you will need if it's gone so far that the things that I'm about to tell you don't work. Then you need to go see a medical professional, because if you don't do that and you skip over what they're telling you to do and it goes further and it gets more aggressive, it will get to a place where it is irreversible. Everything can't be repaired, and if you're constantly going past the things that would fix it and making it worse, you know, like trying to do hacks, then you kind of could run into something where it can't be fixed, where the follicle is dead permanently and can't be brought back to life. So these are things that you should really think about. If you go to a dermatologist, they've been studying the human body, and it's not a different science book when it comes to black people, okay? So now for the treatments that you can do at home yourself, let's go. These are not going to be herbal remedies or any fruits or vegetables, so if you're looking for a grocery list, you're watching the wrong video. Number one, just wash your hair. It is so simple. If you have a regular routine of shampooing the hair and removing bacteria from the scalp, then there will be no overproduction, there will be no buildup, because remember, inside the sebaceous gland there's an acid that's being created that kills most of the bacteria and the yeast that is on the scalp in the meantime, in between time when you're not washing your hair. But it gets to a point where the yeast is more powerful. There's more yeast and more bacteria build up than it is acid being released, which in return gives you these different infections. So just simply shampooing the hair on a regular basis will kill all of this, right? With actual shampoo, not co-washing conditioner. Remember, back then, like years and years ago, you did, and mind you, I've been a licensed cosmetologist for 17 years. It was not until the Team Natural community started that all of these women were getting dandruff and seborrheic dermatitis and scalp psoriasis at such high levels. Yeah, it was out there, but it wasn't the majority of women that had it. The majority of women now have burning, itching, and peeling and redness and swelling and everything within the scalp and within the hair follicle, and this is because the hair has not been properly washed. We've been washing our hair with conditioner that doesn't kill bacteria. Co-washing shampoo, co-washing does not kill bacteria and yeast on the scalp. All right, number two, softening and removing dead skin cells from the scalp. This is why within my 7-day challenge, join it if you haven't already. Within my 7-day challenge, I give you a simple routine and a very simple and simplistic pattern to follow. And scientific brushing, there's a certain scientific brushing routine that you follow within the 7-day challenge, and this scientific brushing routine soften and remove the dead skin cells on the scalp in a very gentle and simplistic way that doesn't cost you any money. Number three, back to number one, is going to bring up this video's sponsor. When it comes to shampoo and conditioner, one of my favorite things that you can get that doesn't require you to have a prescription from a dermatologist is this shampoo and conditioner. Salicylic acid is a tongue twister, all right? And this acid is amazing, but this is the thing. This acid is a molecule, and this molecule works. Once it penetrates the skin, it dissolves the dead skin cells and bacteria. And and skin debris, or any type of skin debris that could be blocking the pores and the follicles. Also acts as an anti-inflammatory treatment to dissolve yeast and bacteria that live on the scalp. So salicylic acid is freaking amazing when it comes to dealing and treating seborrheic dermatitis, dandruff, or scalp psoriasis because of these reasons, now that you know what it is and what it causes. So it will kill the yeast, it will kill the bacteria, and it will help you to remove those dead skin cells. So if you're a person who has burning, itching, redness, swelling, flaking, and all of that in the scalp, this shampoo and conditioner is freaking amazing. And if you are somebody who deals with eczema or scalp or like psoriasis over the body in general, it works really well. My husband deals with it on his hands, like on the palms of his hands, and especially if he uses hand sanitizer, because if you are a person who deals with any of these things, then you should never use anything that has alcohol in it on the scalp or on the skin. And this is simply because what it is, your skin cells are already dying off, and all alcohol is going to do is make it dry out even more. So you'll make it worse adding anything that has alcohol to it. You'll like put the skin cell turnover in overdrive. They'll start dying off even faster than they already are. So you don't want to use anything that has alcohol in it whatsoever. Next up, do not use styling products on the scalp. There is a difference. When you go into a Cosmoprof, like a professional store, I want you guys to pay, well, you won't be able to if you're not a professional. I'm not really sure if they do it at Sally's, but you'll notice that there's a difference between like products for the scalps, like treatments, and styling products. So when you go into Cosmoprof, there's an area for treatments, there's an area for color, and there's an area for styling products. So our heat protectants and things like that go on the hair shaft. Even our leave-in conditioners. Leave-in conditioners aren't going to block the follicles because they purposely make the molecule small enough so that if it does get in the scalp, it's not going to be a big deal because you are spraying it, but it's not meant for the scalp. It is a styling product for the hair. So you want to make sure you're not rubbing oils and stuff like that into the scalp like a Blue Magic. Blue Magic is considered a styling product. It's not a treatment, right? So when you put a product like Blue Magic into the scalp or something really thick, then you block the follicle. So that is what you want to really make sure that you're not adding or using styling products as treatments, because there's a difference. If you want a video of me breaking down styling products and treatments, then let me know in the comments. All right, okay. I already told you to limit the amount of products that you use that have high levels of alcohol, so don't do that. If you have seborrheic dermatitis, I'm not saying everybody in the world in the city, Craig. I'm talking about like if you are somebody who's dealing with dandruff, seborrheic dermatitis, or scalp psoriasis, look at the oil, look at the alcohol content and stay away from that. Even if you are a person who has scalp psoriasis or something like that, you want to make sure you're using, like for an example, instead of you using an alcohol-based heat protectant, you want to use an oil-based heat protectant. So there are different things, and that's what I mean by you understanding the science of hair, so you can understand which styling products to use depending on your scalp's profile, which again is something that I teach you how to find out in my 7-day challenge. But anyway, lastly, I want you to limit the amount of styling products that you are using. The more products you put on your hair, the more chances you have of buildup within the hair's follicle. Because at the end of the day, yeah, you put the hair products on your hair, but you still lay down and go to sleep every night, and then those products touch the scalp. Whether you use the one that I recommended or not, this is one of my favorite ones. Even with me dealing with HS in the scalp, if I have any type of inflammation whatsoever, that shampoo gets it done. It gets rid of any buildup, any overproduction production of sebum, anything within the follicle, because that is what the acid is meant to do. And it is 3% that acid, so, and it's 3%, so it's not going to be an excessive amount of it or anything, so you don't have to worry about it being aggressive. And one of my favorite things is it's unscented, so you don't have to worry about like artificial smells and all of that stuff, because even though it's great for a shampoo or a conditioner to smell great, the thing that you're smelling is an additional scent. So if you're somebody who's already dealing with dandruff or seborrheic dermatitis or scalp psoriasis, after telling you all of this stuff, the last thing you want to do is constantly be adding extra additives. And most of the time certain scents have some sort of alcohol in them or something, but they just wanted to keep this formulation very simple. It is formulated by dermatologists who deal with this on a regular basis. So if you're a person who is dealing with scalp psoriasis, dermatitis, scalp psoriasis, seborrheic dermatitis, or dandruff, which is a mild version of seborrheic dermatitis, then make sure you check the links in the description box below.
Trust that exactly where you are is where you're meant to be. So keep your chin up so your crown doesn't fall.